Hey guys, Ambience here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to beat FNaF 3 Nights 4 and 5 on FNaF VR Help Wanted. While these nights are pretty easy considering how far in the game they are, they're also very buggy and unbalanced at times. Phantom BB and Mangle are more annoying than ever, and Springtrap continues his reality-bending ways to the point of being comically overpowered. Whether it's skipping a camera, going through sealed vents, pretending to go through sealed vents, or just outright killing you on the spot, the biggest threat is probably this mode's bad programming, and I'm not even joking about that. Night 4 is very similar to Night 3, just a bit harder as you might expect. Phantom, Chica, and Puppet are thankfully not in this mode, so you'll still only have 4 Phantoms to deal with. As long as you don't look up much, avoiding Foxy and Freddy should be a breeze. You pretty much have to stare directly at them for several seconds in the case of Freddy to get a jump scare. BB and Mangle are a bit more complicated, but we'll get to them in a bit. For now, let's focus on Springtrap. Springtrap spawns in at the start of the night, usually on cam 9. Sometimes he can spawn in a different camera, but no further up than 6. The best 2 cameras to keep him in are cam 10 and 7, although 7 may be a bit unreliable for a reason that I'll elaborate on once we get to night 5. The short version is that if it seems like you're dying a lot while keeping him in 7, try keeping him in 10 instead. Lure him to whichever camera he's closest to, which will usually be 10, assuming he spawns in 9. If you don't feel like looking for him if he's not in 9, then you can just restart the night and he'll probably be there next time. Once you have him lured to the camera of your choice, the goal is to keep him there as long as possible. Seal the nearest vent, cam 14 if he's in 10, and cam 12 if he's in 7, and stare at him until he leaves. While you're doing that, select Reboot All on the maintenance panel and keep that running as much as possible, even if no systems are currently out. It gives you something to do while waiting for Springtrap to move, and it helps ensure that systems will be rebooted almost immediately if they go out. If done often enough, it can also just make it so that no errors happen in the first place. The beeping noise gets annoying quickly, but it pays off to reboot constantly. Anyway, once Springtrap leaves the camera completely, play audio and wait. If you're constantly rebooting all, you can play audio as much as you want with a low chance of getting an error, so use it twice if you're not sure if the first one worked. Springtrap might look like he's ignoring it completely at first, but for some reason he's programmed so that he reacts slower than a drunken elderly blue whale. It might take 10 or even 15 seconds, but he'll walk over eventually. It might be tempting to check the adjacent cameras to see where Springtrap's wandered off to and if he's coming back yet, but it is best to avoid this. Phantom BB gets a movement opportunity approximately every 30 seconds, which can only be triggered when you change cameras. If you don't change cameras, then he can't show up. If you have to switch for some reason though, you should immediately go to a different camera, then back to the one you initially switched to. This should bait out Phantom BB and let you avoid a jump scare. This can work really well with hotkeys if you're on flat mode, because you can despawn BB and make it back to the original camera in mere frames. I'm on PC, so what I like to do is click on a camera that I want to switch to, and then immediately hit A and then D right after, or vice versa, or W then S, depending on the layout of the cameras. Other times, if I want to just get BB out of the way for 30 seconds while I'm watching Springtrap, then I'll quickly move to a nearby camera, and then back to the one Springtrap's on in the same way. Try it out, it's pretty quick. The same trick can work in the vents for Mangle, which is good because you can very easily be caught off guard by him if you need to look at the vents. You don't ever really need to look at the vents unless you think Springtrap might be crawling through an unsealed one, but just in case, get ready to switch cameras quickly there too. This is a good time to get skilled at dodging the Phantoms because getting hit by them on night 5 even once can be really bad, and they are relentless. There's not much to say for night 4, just keep Springtrap in a camera, seal the nearest vent, and reboot all as much as you can. Play audio when he leaves, and he'll come back. Just be careful of the insane amount of glitches as always, mainly the fact that if you get unlucky, he could just go through a sealed vent. From my experience, he usually just seems to phase through the vent due to an animation glitch before ending up back at the camera, so don't panic if he seems to ignore the vent snare at first. Oh, speaking of vent snares, one more random piece of info. If you seal cam 13 and then seal another vent after, cam 13 will still appear to be sealed on the map. Not sure if this is just a visual glitch or if it can actually be abused, but either way, it's good to know. Also, quick correction of the last guide, we actually mistimed the nights by about 3 seconds. It looks like they're actually 3 seconds shorter than thought. That means that night 1 is 3 minutes and 27 seconds long, night 2 is 4 minutes and 56 seconds, and nights 3, 4, and 5 are 5 minutes exactly, from what I can tell. Sorry if these end up being wrong again, they're pretty annoying to time correctly. Anyway, Night 4 shouldn't be a huge problem, but if you're experiencing issues with Springtrap glitching out and killing you when he shouldn't, then just try another camera next time and see if that fixes the issue. If you'd like some additional info on the basics of this mode, check out the previous guide linked in the cards. As for Night 5, everything is just sorta on fire, both figuratively and literally. The new color scheme can make things hard to see, but the same basics still apply. However, this night does change a few things, and I'm not even sure which ones are intentional. First of all, Springtrap can now spawn in every camera besides maybe Cam 1. That means that if you get unlucky, he can spawn in Cam 2 and be at your window in a few seconds. Awesome. Regardless, he's still far more likely to spawn at Cam 9, so you should be able to get him to 10 no trouble. If he doesn't, then I'd seriously just suggest resetting the night at this point. The situation is manageable when he can only spawn up to 6 and you can keep him in 7, but on Night 5, it's just unlikely. For him to 10, seal Cam 14 before Mangle has a chance to spawn, and start spamming Reboot All. Systems fail incredibly fast on Night 5, so you'll need to be rebooting almost 24/7. Otherwise, wait for Springtrap to move, then lure him back. Try not to change cameras if you can help it, but remember my tips to dodge BB and Mangle from earlier if you need to. Springtrap seems to go in vents a lot more often this night for whatever reason. I expected this to be a problem, but in several attempts he actually never went through a sealed vent once, even though he appeared to. I don't know if it can't happen on Cam 10, can't happen on Night 5, or if I just got lucky, or what the deal is, but it seems to work regardless. If it doesn't, you can always try trapping him in 9 instead, and if he goes through that sealed vent, then just keep him in Cam 1. Pretty risky, but it works. Okay, so what's the big secret? Why can't you just keep him in Cam 7 instead, like every other night? Well, I tried that 3 times while recording footage, and all 3 times I randomly died out of nowhere sometime between 12 and 3 AM. No vent noises, nothing. 1 second he was in Cam 7, and the next he was in my face. I have absolutely no clue what causes this. I didn't even know it was a thing until yesterday, but it is. As if Springtrap wasn't already broken enough, he can now kill you from halfway across the map instantly. If you find a consistent way to avoid it, let me know in the comments, because I cannot figure this one out, and neither can anyone else that I've talked to yet. You can try keeping him in 7 if you want, but if you die like this, then just go for Cam 10 instead. I've heard that this might be able to happen on earlier nights as well, but it only seems super common on Night 5. It does seem more common on VR for some reason though, so be extra wary in that case. Cam 10 isn't ideal, but that and Cam 9 are probably the next best things. Also, Springtrap can do some insane movements in this night. He can just outright skip certain locations under the right circumstances, meaning he can go from Cam 3 to your window, Cam 1 to your window, Cam 4 to 2, skipping the window entirely, or if you're really unlucky, he can just skip the vent animation and teleport through them instantly. I thought this might be what results in the Cam 7 bug, but he does it even when the vent is sealed and doesn't seem to do it anywhere else, so it's likely entirely separate. Still no clue on that one. That's really all I've got. This mode is super confusing and near impossible to actually break down into a science. Phantom BB activates roughly every 30 seconds, Mangle activates roughly every 40 to 45, I think, and I have no clue about anyone else. They're all too inconsistent and really convoluted. Thankfully, the gameplay itself is really easy if Springtrap doesn't decide to transcend space and time, so just do your best, and if he does that, then brush it off and keep playing, I guess. Reboot all as much as possible and look out for the phantoms, and then just react when Springtrap moves. If you're lucky enough to avoid Giga Springtrap, you'll make it to 6. Well, that's all for now. Follow this strategy, and you should be able to complete the last stretch of the FNaF 3 mode. Since this mode happens to be turbo busted, I didn't have a whole lot of traditional fun playing it, but it was really funny to mess around with and see all the various ways Springtrap could break the game. Do you have any ideas what could have caused some of the glitches in this mode? Let me know in the comments. Speaking of which, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you'd like updates on what I'm doing next, feel free to join the Discord server or follow me on Twitter for all the latest on upcoming videos, streams, and collabs, a chance to just chill with other FNaF fans, or even to get help on a night that you're struggling with. If you enjoyed this guide and you'd like to see more, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel to show your support. I know it's the classic YouTuber plug, but it really does help me out. I'd also like to give a quick shout out to Bonnie360 for making this video's thumbnail, and to Insta for providing some great information to make this guide as accurate as it can be. Both of them have been helping out with these videos for some time, and they're both linked in the description, so go support them as well. All of the links that I mentioned earlier are down there too, so check them all out. With that being said, Thank you guys for watching this guide. I hope it helped you, and I will see you in the next one.